Teenage rookie sensation Alex Dumas made a statement with back-to-back wins at round one at Calabogie Motorsport Park. Much to the chagrin of 14-time national champion Jordan Szoke, who could do no better than two third-place finishes. Heading into round two at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Dumas has a target on his back. And both Szoke and 2019 champion Ben Young have their sights set squarely on number 23. Everyone, and welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for round two of the Canadian Superbike Championship. We are getting set for the third race of the season here at Old Mosport. The 2021 IBEW Canadian Superbike Championship is presented by Yuasa Battery, Joe Rocket, and Mopar.
Heading out for our warm-up lap at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and if you want to understand the nature of pressure for a professional athlete, how about the first time ever, 3 Superbike races in one day at one venue, the most important venue on the series, the one with the most pressure, closest to head office. Finally, the fans are back, and you have to do well 3 times to have a shot at the crown.
Well, we thought it was going to be a busy weekend with 3 Superbike races over 2 days, but the unfortunate happenings yesterday have condensed everything into this one day, and it should be good.
And if you're wondering why Jordan Szoke isn't on this particular graphic, because his name already went by. He was on row 3, which is a remarkably disturbing turn of events for Jordan Szoke.
Jordan Szoke, 14-time national champion, is starting 9th on the grid for all 3 races today. They've made some big changes to the bike since round 1 and are happy with the setup now. So he'll be looking to make up some points and will be planning to push for a top result from the start.
Thank you, Hannah. And now we are ready for the aforementioned start. We'll be looking at the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers starting lights. And there they are. The lights are starting to come on. Now there's between a 1 and a 5 second gap between those lights being on and going off. And it's a long one. The lights are off now and they're away and running. And somebody got the whole shot there.
That was Dumas, and it was beautiful.
And look at Dumas is dragging Sebastien Tremblay along. So we have 2 Quebec riders right up front right away, and they're headed up towards turn 2 now. Dumas leads.
If you're wondering about Tremblay, yes, he is back on 1,000. That's the bike he rode a couple of years ago and showing spectacular form in second place with Ben Young trying him on the outside.
That motorcycle has come home. Ben Young now tries the inside, and it works just fine. Thank you very much. He has taken over P2, and he follows right in behind Dumas now and chases him towards turn number 4.
If you're a follower of the series, normally I'd be talking about Jordan Szoke and his lead and how those guys have to hang in. This time it's Dumas, the winner of our opening 2 races, setting a very impressive pace in his first career start at CTMP.
Jordan Szoke is running in 6th spot right now, which is a bit of a jump up the board. He started back in 9th position way back. Now we're on the Mario Andretti straightaway. Now we're into the dyno territory, and we're on board with Trevor Daly. Heading up towards turn number 8. Ben Young still stalking Dumas rather, and Sebastien Tremblay back there taking it all in.
And I think that when we were on board with Trevor on the other, oh my goodness.
Oh man, Young on the inside of Dumas. I don't know whether there was contact there, but they were extremely close on the exit of turn number 9.
Szoke is trying to get by Daly, and let's not miss the Yamaha of TV Tommy Kazis, and he is in a solid 4th right on top of Tremblay, the former rivals from Liqui Pro Sport Bike, now right at the front of the Superbike feature.
Thomas right on the back wheel, as you say, behind the shaker and getting a bit of a tow around. He has a look around the outside. Is there any room? Nothing to be had this time around, but again, very close. He looks to the inside now, and it looks like Tommy Kazis has moved up into 3rd spot. Great pass by Kazis.
Beautiful move, very confident, not alarming for Tremblay. Of course, Tremblay is the king of smooth. Let's mention right behind Szoke is Nickerson returning to the series and his DeWalt Honda. That is a really nice effort, and he he is running at the back of the lead pack, right with our reigning champ.
Well, Nickerson, of course, is in command of the SOAR series. He's the fast man down at SOAR, both in the Superbike and in the open class down at the Southern Ontario Association of Racing. And now we're on board with Sebastian Tremblay looking to make up a position right alongside now as we chase the top two riders. That is Dumas and Young up front. Tremblay and Casas having a side-by-side battle going in through turn number 9 now. Or 8 rather, heading up towards 8. Tremblay on the outside. Casas holds P3. Meanwhile, out front it is Ben Young. Braveheart has taken the lead from Dumas, and Dumas looks to be returning the favor heading down into turn number 1. He has. Dumas is back in front.
That was a wonderful set of moves there as we were slightly focused on yet another battle. I think Jordan Szoke picked up a spot. Let's watch the replay. We are on board here, and I believe that is the leading now BMW of Ben Young. But now look at this. Dumas, cool as can be, just ducks right back underneath. As I like to say, he reverses the math, and that comes easily when you're calm, and Dumas is calm.
Indeed, and Szoke now battling up into 4th spot. He has displaced Tremblay, and Daly now is all over Tremblay. So Szoke into 4th position and on to the back straightaway. Let's see what the Canadian Kawasaki Motors sponsored rider can do with that straightaway.
We mentioned Nickerson. All over the back of Nickerson is Leon, who normally is with the lead dispute here, and so we can expect, I think this is essentially an 8-bike draft. Yeah, Leon is right with Nickerson, so these 8 guys are all slipstreaming, so Dumas is pulling a very long train of superbikes.
And right now, Jordan Szoke may be in a very enviable position, sitting back. Oh no, now he's moved out already. He has moved out and he has passed Casas, and Szoke now moving up into 3rd spot.
But Casas closes the door, so not clear on 3rd, and we'll be right back with more from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Closed captioning of this broadcast is brought to you in part by Goderich Toyota, Traction Heavy Duty Parts, MotorcycleCourse.com, and Revs for Rent, CSBK's official charity. Here we are back at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, working lap number 4 of 14, and down into turn 1 they go. Dumas still leading over Young, then Casas, then Szoke.
We're looking at our 8 leaders, and all of them can rightfully think that they've got a chance at the win, because slipstreaming here up that long uphill back straight at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park is so important. Now let's hear from 2nd place Ben Young about the winner of our opening 2 races, our leader, Dumas.
Alex coming into the series is a great addition. Obviously, he did well, outperforming us all in both races. A lot of people seem to be surprised by that. Me, not so much. He's 2-time Moto America champion for a reason. It was obviously not the way we would like the weekend to go, but it wasn't like he won it by miles. It was some tight racing, so it was still good races for us on that side of it, and not out of reach, and the championship isn't over yet.
Back into action once more as we follow the riders in through turn number 8. They've finished that long. Oh, down goes, I believe that was Leon, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody lost the front end there. Yeah, I'm going to go with Leon.
Yeah, and that was a really odd crash, because normally you're back on the throttle at that part of the track, so very weird. You wonder, did he hit a slick spot or have some little issue? But really unfortunate for Leon, who at times has been a leader here and had a lot of bad luck at this track last year.
Well, Dumas leading again. Of course, he's got 2 races already won this year, and this is going to be a 7-race series. And coming into this weekend, he enjoys a 17-point lead, Colin.
And Young has already cut into that very slightly by taking the Yuasa Battery's pole position. However, 1 or 2 points isn't going to be enough. He needs to carve off some chunks, and over 3 races, that is going to be a challenge, because Dumas seems to be riding very smart. And look at that wide line as we start down into 4.
Tommy Casas hasn't given up on Szoke by any means, but take note that Szoke has recorded the fastest lap of this race thus far. And look at the inside there was Young having a peak on the inside of Dumas. Now onto the back straightaways, horsepower territory. Let's go for a ride.
And have a look at Daly, because he's the last man in this train of motorcycles. So if anybody has an edge, and of course you need the gearing.
Szoke's on the move. Szoke is on the move. Szoke is on the move. No! Oh man, I thought for sure he was going to catapult himself up in the 1st spot there, Colin. He seemed to stall out when he reached the peak of that hill.
And Tremblay had a go at Casas, and I think honestly Daly could have done better, except that he was blocked by 2 bikes bikes side by side halfway up the hill.
Young comes out wide out of turn number 10. Looks like he's trying to line up a pass going into one. Not going to happen this time around. Szoke stays right behind Young, and likewise Tommy Kass is staying right with the lead group. The top four getting just a little bit of distance, but that is quickly eaten up as Tremblay and Daly steam in to turn number 2.
And you wonder to yourself, who has the most experience here? Of course, Dumas' first weekend at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, as Daly cranks up some very solid laps, and that's what happens when you're in the middle of the draft. But let's mention, Jordan Szoke has been battling for the lead in the Superbike feature here since the late 90s. This guy knows about the slipstream.
We're going for a ride there for a moment with Braveheart. Now we watch him from the outside of Moss's corner as he tries to line up a pass. He looks to the inside once more. No, he's right in his wheel tracks this time.
And I think Dumas is doing the smart thing. He's slightly defensive in that slow section where it's hard to pass, but that lines him up perfectly. And the thing we know about Dumas is he's very accurate with his riding. There you can see Young trying that outside line again, but Dumas is showing great discipline in terms of defending.
I think he's got him. Yes, he does. Young has him this time around. I've been caught out a couple of times, but this time around, Braveheart has definitely moved into the lead.
And I feel like Kazis could have got Szoke, right? A couple of times we've seen what seems to be the move, just maybe a little too much respect for your elders. On board here as we climb the hill with the BMW of Young, and now we're side by side over the last hump. Now we're on the brakes, and Dumas has been quite comfortable being aggressive on the inside. We saw that over and over at Calabogie, but this time Young has a slightly better line, picks it up, but really nothing to choose amongst our front runners. None of this is crucial unless you can break clear of the slipstream on the backstretch.
Casas and Daly extremely close to one another in behind Szoke. Tremblay sitting back maybe a couple of bike lengths, just sort of taking it all in, but he may be in the most advantageous spot being in behind a large group like that on that back straightaway that we quite often refer to as the decider at this racetrack.
Now that Dumas in second, let's watch him reverse the math of our back straight as we'll be right back.
We are back at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park watching Ben Young as he steams down into turn number 1. Alex Dumas running in second spot. Jordan Szoke was in third. Szoke has been shunted back. No, he's still holding on to third spot. Tommy Casas right in behind him.
And Szoke under considerable pressure from Daly, who's been holding station towards the back of our lead pack, but now I think he's feeling a little oh yeah, look at that. Daly looking hard for third place on Jordan Szoke, who has climbed as high as second and is also holding station. Here we are on board with Daly. You can see the rear tire spinning up on that Kawasaki of Szoke as we head down. This is where we call the chute, and we are at a good glance at Jordan Szoke's Kawasaki at full tilt.
And down into Moss's corner now, and looks like we're up on traffic. We are up on traffic indeed. And Young has gotten by. Now Dumas getting by. Szoke has been forced to the outside, and Daly has taken advantage of that. Daly now has moved in front of Jordan Szoke. So Szoke down one position. That cost him dearly, Colin.
And have a look at Young. For the first time, we have a decisive lead, and if he can break the draft, this could be the distinct moment in our race. Let's go back and look and see what happened with traffic. Chris Fair getting lapped at Moss Corner, and you can see Fair holds the inside line, but then he's in the middle of the track on the exit. Dumas gets held up a bit. Szoke takes the long way around, and Daly basically just drives up the inside. Now we're looking backwards from Daly's bike. There's Szoke, who's lost the spot, and Tremblay is on his way too because he wasn't held up.
And Lapper's already having an effect here. Let's check in with our in-pit reporter, Hannah Streak. She has more information on Trevor Daly.
Trevor Daly did not compete last year due to COVID-19. Kenny Reedman filled in his place and put the one-speed Suzuki on the podium. So Trevor is hoping to repeat or exceed those same results this weekend. The team is continuing to make changes to the setup and have decided to race with the Dunlop Ultra Soft rear tire for this race. They're hoping for some ultra performance out of those ultra soft Dunlop tires.
And Daly definitely taking advantage of the gription that those Dunlop tires are giving him as he has moved up into third spot. Podium position for the Wild Child this far anyways, and Tremblay may have different ideas. So Tremblay right in behind Daly. This should be good.
Well, and I've got a concern at the back of this shot, Frank. Jordan Szoke is not part of this story
Holy
anymore.
cow.
He has faded way off very, very quickly. And look at this, just barely in the shot and not trying anything. So looks like some kind of issue for our champion.
Holy Lord, he was holding on to third, and I'd at one point, you may remember, as they came up into 8, I thought he had taken the race lead, but this is a disaster for the People's Champion. Young now leading in through turn number 10, out onto the front straightaway. Dumas somewhat frustrated, no doubt, back at least 12, maybe 15 bike lengths. So this was unanticipated.
Well, I think this is all due to that traffic, right?
Yep.
It's a lap and a bit pass, and Dumas has split the difference. So I don't know that the rest of them, including Daly, he's third, are going to be able to join up again. But I think we'll look at that band really wide. But I think that look at Dumas picked up a ton of time right there. So I think this right now looks like a two-rider battle. And look at that, Dumas did what you need to do.
120s, holy.
Yeah, and we're into qualifying territory now.
Good Lord.
On board with Dumas, and this is what it looks like for the championship leader, who is hunting the second in points. How important is this race? Heaven and earth, Frank.
Very important. Dumas has a brief look to the inside, realizing that we are getting down into the last few laps of this race. We're working lap number 10 of 14. These are like sprint races, Colin. Normally we're running a 20-lap race here. This is very different and very exciting.
Daly cheating to one side. Tremblay still trying to pick up that draft for third. Can these two work together to catch the leaders? And they're not doing it right now. At lap 10, this is probably a mistake. Third, fourth, and fifth should be teamed up. Tremblay on the outside, that is not helping.
No, not at all, and that is most unusual. We've talked about the precision of the shaker, and that just threw it out the window that time. He left a huge hole there. Fortunately, Casas was not able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, and don't forget that second battle that we're talking about is for a podium spot, right? All three of those guys want to at least be on the box, but right now with Jordan having faded off the pace, it now looks like the championship battle is the battle for the lead today.
And Colin, we're coming up on lappers once more down in turn number 2. This is going to be on the short chute between 2 and 3 when they gather this rider up. Here they come, Young around the outside. No, not quite. Dumas caught in behind him there. Young's got the clear field of vision, and Young has broken away now. Young has had a huge break here, Colin.
Yeah, and I think that Young took a chance to go on the outside. I think Dumas won't do it. He doesn't know these guys. He's not sure of the plan, and he has not taken that kind of chance regardless of how it affects his lap time. He knows he's the points leader. He's at risk in terms of the championship.
Yeah, he's thinking championship for sure, and that may be why he's staying in second spot. I don't know if he's got enough toe, but we will be right back as Ben Young leads Alex Dumas here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. The 2021 CSBK season is presented by Yuasa Battery, Joe Rocket, and Mopar. Here we are back at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park as we get down to the towards the end of this race, and you can see the riders stacked up here going in through turn number 9 right now. Ben Young leading Alex Dumas. Then we have Trevor Daly, Sebastian Tremblay, and Tommy Casas. That's your top 5 riders, and they have left the rest of the field far in the distance.
BMW, Suzuki, Kawasaki, and Yamaha. Great range of machines at the front, and really any one of these guys has a shot at the win. But Casas and Tremblay have held station mostly, and of course they are old rivals from Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike for the middleweight class, and they need to get ambitious and start slipstreaming together if they're going to have a chance. Right now, the interesting story is Daly, because he hasn't really tried too much, and I can't help but wonder at this juncture, does Daly have a little more tire underneath as we go on board with our leader Young? And there's a shot of his arch rival as of the last month, Mr. Dumas.
Yeah, Daly is the one I'm watching. I believe he has got the fire under his belt, and he has really got a good chance here now as we're working lap number 13 of 14, and this is Daly's opportunity, especially after this climb up the hill. Let's watch this one.
Yeah, watch all of them to see how they do in the draft. Remember, this is the horsepower shootout up the back straight, but gearing is crucial, and aerodynamics come into play as Tremblay goes inside and Daly considers going wide.
Daly had a look around the outside. Now he dives to the inside. No, couldn't quite get it done, but what a great move by Trevor Daly as he stalks his Suzuki teammate, if you will, Alex Dumas. Now he lost a couple of bike lengths through 9 and 10 out onto the front straightaway, and Daly running at third spot and maybe on his way to his first national championship win. Here we go, Colin, last lap.
And that was an amazing effort by Dumas, who was wide in turn 8, but look, he's almost ready to try for the lead again. And what I was going to say, Frank, is he was wide in 8, but it didn't screw up his pace, and he didn't even leave the door far enough open for Daly. Dumas is riding so well. Look at him try the inside.
On Young. Now he looks to the inside, not to be had. Braveheart shuts the door on him, but you can see that Dumas has a plan, and I think he wishes to execute this plan very shortly. On board now with Daly, running in 3rd spot. Headed down into the chute now, turn number 4, headed down in towards Moss's corner, and look as Young continues to lead. He is precise, he's riding on dimes right now, Colin. No mistakes are going to be made here.
But Daly left the door open and Tremblay is through, and it looks like a 2-rider battle at best for the win.
Out onto the back straightaway they come. Braveheart has got his head down. Something's gone wrong with Tommy Kaz as he's pulled over there, Colin. I think he has run into mechanical difficulties. And we look back now as Ivan Babik running in the top 10. Oh, he has collided with Edward Rakowski, one of the lappers there, and Babik has gone into the hay bales at turn number 5. Tough break for Babik. Meanwhile, up front, it's Braveheart out of the last corner. Dumas is there. Not enough steam to get it done as Braveheart has taken victory here. And I believe that was... No, it wasn't. It was Turcotte. It was a Turcotte performance. Sebastian Tremblay. I got so excited. Tremblay has finally scored a podium finish here, Colin.
The problem with all of this, Frank, is only the leaders got the checkered flag. Almost everybody else in the race was stopped by the red flag. So normally you would revert to the previous lap. Not too controversial. Young was leading at that point, but the person who gets shuffled down the order is Tremblay, who was 4th at that point. So Trevor may have been lucky with our podium as we have a look. There's the red flag, confirming our results with our winner.
Yeah.
Young and Dumas. Daly moves up to 3rd from Tremblay. Kazas from the fading Szoke. Lots of BMWs at the bottom half of the top 10. And let's not forget Nickerson on the Honda, showing so well in his return to the series.
This place continues to produce exciting superbike races with the likes of you. Congratulations, young man.
Thank you, Frank. Thanks to everybody. First of all, I just want to make sure and hope everybody's okay that was involved in that accident. It was a good race. It's the heat's getting up now, and there's a lot of heat coming off these bikes, especially down the back straight. So it was a lot of fun riding with Alex, as always is, and it's great to see more guys in there, and congrats to everybody else on their race and achievements.
I was watching up in turn 2, Ben. We saw a very ambitious move from you very early in the race on the outside of 3. You a comment?
Yeah, I was trying to set myself up there. I kind of seemed to be up the back of Alex a bit, so it was just trying to figure out what was possible. I was quite content sitting there at the start of the race, and once I had the opportunity to get by, I wanted to see if he was ready to push it with us, and it looks like all the guys were ready to go for a fast race. And thanks to everybody out there. It's been it's a phenomenal feeling to come around and wave to the crowd when we come by. And like I said, I hope everybody that was involved in that accident is okay. It's you don't like to see that at all.
Alex, wow, what a race.
Yeah, I had a really good start, really happy. Unfortunately, Ben passed me, but I could follow him for most of the race, and we caught up to some lappers. He went like a second in front of me, so I tried to come back. I did come back, but just wasn't enough to pass him. We're going to work hard and see if we can beat Ben for the next 2 races.
And a good news report from turn 5. Both riders involved in that last lap mishap are okay.
Looking at our championship standings, and Young has gone from a 17 to a 6-point deficit. It is getting very interesting in 2021. Meanwhile, let's talk about our fast riding school bonus, and that is as we see our winners celebrate on the podium. And who received that bonus? There is Mr. Samuel Guerin, who's had a very hard start to the season, but gets some recognition for his charge up through the pack here.
On behalf of the CSBK crew and all of us here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, thanks for being with us. We'll be back soon.